is Encore. Cool. The stories behind the songs.
Thank you.
Here's iHeartRadio's Miles Galloway.
Yes, it's the podcast full of true stories about the songs you love, some of which are just straight up BANANAS. Hope you're good. I'm Miles, and this is the story of Gwen Stefani's Hollaback Girl. For such a fun and chaotic band, No Doubt was always a safe space for Gwen Stefani. The flexibility in the band's style and sound, paired with Stefani's undeniable star power as frontwoman of the group, meant that you could be forgiven for thinking that Gwen Stefani, the artist, and No Doubt the band, were interchangeable. Gwen served as lead writer on nearly all the band's hits, and with memorable songs like Don't Speak, Just a Girl, and Hella Good serving as distinct showcases of her range and creative vision. In an alternate timeline, No Doubt could have carried on through the 2000s and beyond with hit after hit. But artists rarely play it safe. It's part of the reason we love them so much. Gwen Stefani had already dipped her toe in the solo waters before. 2000's collab with Moby on the sleeper hit Southside was generally well received, and her 2001 effort with Eve, yes, Let Me Blow Your Mind, was a massive hit, winning a 2002 Grammy Award for Best Rap Sung Collaboration along the way. After playing the Super Bowl in 2003 and releasing a solid No Doubt Greatest Hits collection, the iron was hot for Gwen to move forward with what MTV initially reported as an intended fun little dance record, a hiatus from the band that would let Stefani flex her creative muscles for a little bit. But nothing too serious. Initially, she was even hesitant to call it a solo project at all. In 2004, she expressed as much to Much Music's Jennifer Hollett.
At what point in No Doubt did you know that I'd like to try a solo project one day?
I never have ever thought that, and I still don't really consider this a solo project, because I would think that a solo project would be like, if I was finally not compromising and suddenly pouring my heart out, and, this is me, the real me, and like I wrote every single bit of the record, and that's what I would think a solo record would be. But that's pretty much what I do in No Doubt. But this was a very clear, concise idea and concept of a kind of style record, like a dance. I call it a dance record that I wanted to make, that had like the feeling of different groups that I heard as the backdrop of my life. I was not even gonna use my name. I was gonna use my initials, and then because I felt really weird. But then I was like, should I put Gwen? Then I was like, oh, that sounds really weird. And then I was like, I guess I should just put Gwen Stefani.
Love Angel Music Baby, or Lamb, L-A-M-B, was released on November 12, 2004 after a painstaking year of writing and recording with everyone from Linda Perry to Andre 3000 to Canada's Chantal Kraviazuk and even her No Doubt cohort Tony Kanal. From the get-go, Stefani was intentional but open. She wanted control but to be free, and it seemed like her artistic vision wasn't always the easiest to nail down. Here she is again in 2004 with Much.
And the really cool part about this record is less of me than I've ever been, in the sense that I've collaborated with so many incredible people and had this kind of wish list of people that I thought, God, it'd be really cool, like, to figure out how other people write songs. Like, I mean, I write all the melodies, all the lyrics, No Doubt. That's what I do, and that's like really fulfilling for me. A lot of people don't even know I probably write songs. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't really fucking care. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, they just hear the songs and they just think, oh, the blonde hair girl, whatever. So I wanted to try to find out if I could make a record that every single song on the record could be a single. Like, no fucking around. Like, no art tracks, no, like, every song had to be completely addictive and like ABCs, like the guilty pleasure, like even if you hated me or what I've done in the past, you'd be like, oh my God, not that song. I kind of like this song. I can't help it. I wanted to make that record. So it was very intentional, and it didn't matter, like, kind of, my ego is definitely all messed up. It's like, I said to my ego, I was thinking...
Do you talk to your ego?
Yeah, well, at this point, it was desperation. I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to let people in and, like, walk away and feel good about it, because when you get in there with somebody else and you don't have everything on your shoulders, and you do try other people's melodies on. Like, for me, the lyrical thing's very uncomfortable. Like, it's like, okay, it has to, like, once in a while I'll try. I was letting people in, but, like, melody-wise, there's like certain, like, Club Nouveau song, like, I wish so bad I could sing that, make that melody up, but naturally it doesn't come out of my body. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain kind of style that comes out of me. So to try like to go in with, you know, Andre or whatever, for instance, and like he makes up a melody that to me is really challenging, but when I sing it, I suddenly have a new kind of, it sounds all new and fresh, and that was the idea, you know, to kind of like be part of something great and not have to do every single part of it. But if I was, you know, just, it didn't matter how I got there, I had to make it, it had to be great, so.
With 20 songs originally recorded, including the soon-to-be iconic singles What You Waiting For and Rich Girl, a sequel to her hit with Eve, Stefani still felt like something was missing. Writer's block and uncertainty were a huge part of the process of the album, and although she'd already tried her hand working with Pharrell and Chad Hugo of the Neptunes with little to no success, Stefani vibed with Pharrell on a personal level and thought it might be a good idea to chase him down in New York and try to make magic happen one more time. Gwen told the story best herself to Much Music in 2004.
I had gone to New York to work with Pharrell. I had the record pretty much finished. I was totally like convinced that I had the record, except for in the back of my head I thought, you know, I don't really have my attitude song, like my dance modern attitude song. And they were doing this thing with Pharrell, all the Neptune songs on MTV, and I'm like, I was just feeling really like, I can't believe we didn't hook up and do a song. Like, we had hooked up. We did 2 songs and they were crap. They were just like, whatever, you know, we didn't write anything that great. And so I just kind of like was like gonna email the head of my label going, why the fuck didn't I do the Pharrell thing? You know, I already had 20 songs. I didn't need any more. But next thing I know, I'm on the plane 7 days in New York, booked studio, you know, which is just totally like a drag, because when you're that far into it and you think you can't write another song, and it was.
Because the two enjoyed each other's company so much, Pharrell thought he'd play her some early material for a solo album of his own, you know, artist to artist.
And then he was showing me some of his songs like that for a solo record, and he was just like totally blowing me away, because he's just incredible, this music, and he's so talented, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so jealous, and I can't believe that I'm sitting here with you, and I'm like, we should write more, and he's like, you've got to be kidding. I'm like, I'm greedy, you know, we should write another one, we're just sitting here. And then we wrote this song called Hollaback Girl, which was the song that we were really going to try to get. So it was really crazy, like.
Well, that so-called greediness worked as a major motivator, and Gwen and Pharrell took stock of what her record already had and what it was lacking. It had hip-hop, R&B, plenty of synths, and a ballad or two, but what it didn't have was a track that fully encompassed why she was even making this solo record in the first place. Why she was risking the security of No Doubt for a solo career she wasn't even sure she wanted. If I'm being honest with myself, I don't know why she revealed to MTV, but I needed something about how the No Doubt fans probably are like, why is she doing this record? She's going to ruin everything. And she admitted, I didn't know why I was doing it either. But what Gwen did know was she needed a track to prove her detractors, real or hypothetical, wrong. And pretty soon she was going to find just the hater she needed. People who were allergic to bananas. No, I'm just kidding. Around the time of the final Pharrell sessions, Courtney Love, the widow of the late great Kurt Cobain and grunge icon in her own right, took a shot at Gwen Stefani during an interview. Courtney said, quote, being famous is just like being in high school, but I'm not interested in being the cheerleader. I'm not interested in being Gwen Stefani. She's the cheerleader and I'm out in the smoker shed. And there it was, the inspiration. Why, of all the pop icons of the time, was Gwen Stefani catching strays from Courtney Love, of all people, in 17 magazine, of all places? Gwen and Pharrell decided to beat the high school accusations by subverting them. The two stayed up all night and wrote a song that wasn't for the haters, not for the fans, wasn't for anybody. Why, you may ask? Because she ain't no Hollaback girl, that's why. Gwen told MTV after the song's release, we looked at each other when we wrote the song and we were like, that's it. It's a song that says, you know, you don't have to answer back. To me, it's the freshest attitude song I've heard in so long. I wanted a song like that. That was like my Just a Girl song for now. It feels good. It's a slap. It's a slap on the bottom. It's a slap on the face. After the song's release, Stefani responded to Love's comments in the March 2005 issue of NME saying, you know, someone one time called me a cheerleader negatively, and I've never been a cheerleader. So I was like, okay, F you. You want me to be a cheerleader? Well, I will be one then. And I'll rule the whole world. You just watch me. And rule the world she absolutely did. Hollaback Girl entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 82, and within 6 weeks, it hit the top of the chart, becoming Stefani's first and only US number 1. It ended the 9-week run of 50 Cent's powerhouse single Candy Shop, and stayed there for 4 weeks. As the world began the transition from physical media to digital downloads, Hollaback Girl actually became the first single to sell more downloads than CD single copies. It stayed on the 2005 MTV TRL Top 10 for so long that year that the show eventually had to retire it from its rotation. The song went platinum many times over in the US, hitting its 6th platinum certification in July of this year. In Canada, the song only peaked at number 12. However, it was the subject of a debate between music critics and the Canadian Recording Industry Association, as the association argued that it should have sold more copies, but online piracy kept it from achieving a higher ranking up here. Sorry. I'll stop right there. It's probably the most 2000s ever to be talking about this. Unlike most of the songs that we profiled so far on Encore, many critics did not love Hollaback Girl. Like Nick Sylvester of Pitchfork, who referred to the song as a Queen pastiche, which has about as much club potential as a 13-year-old with a milk mustache and his dad's ID. Jason Damas of Pop Matters also disliked the song, saying, lyrically, this is where Gwen Stefani sinks the lowest here, especially on a breakdown where she repeats, this shit is bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S, several times. Yeah, Jason, that's kind of the best part. The music video for Hollaback Girl features Gwen and her now controversial Harajuku girls cruising around in a custom 1961 Chevrolet Impala, as well as orchestrating high school cheerleader-themed choreography, just for you, Courtney Love. But perhaps the most clever part of the video is how it played into its own radio censorship of the word shit, with Gwen playfully covering her mouth or shushing her lips every time the refrain comes in. By the way, just before recording this episode, I counted the amount of times she says shit. It's 38 times in the song. That's got to be a world record for a number one single, right? Always sartorially adventurous, Gwen Stefani's seen in streetwear, a cheerleading outfit, and of course her iconic band leader costume when the horns come into the song. And remember, Pharrell makes a brief appearance in the music video before Gwen and the girls trash a dollar store leading into the final spell-along B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Come on, Jason, you know you want to. To this day, that's still how I remember to spell that word. Hollaback Girl was nominated for Best Female Pop Vocal Track and Record of the Year at the 2006 Grammy Awards, but lost out to Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone and Green Day's Boulevard of Broken Dreams, respectively. Love Angel Music Baby also received nominations for Best Pop Vocal Album and Album of the Year, but was again beaten by Kelly Clarkson's Breakaway and U2's How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. That wasn't the one that Apple forced on everyone's iTunes, was it? No. I'm Miles Galloway, about to go and eat a banana, and that was the story of Gwen Stefani's Hollaback Girl on Encore from iHeartRadio, with new episodes every Thursday. Catch you on the next one.
Encore is an iHeartRadio Canada podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app for more great podcasts just like these.